The thing is, you got to make the next call, because if you don't make the next call, you're not going to eat. Do you want to eat? Do you want to pay your mortgage payment? Look, I'm under doctor's orders right now, and I've been eating really poorly. My doctor gave me a list of stuff I can't eat, and it made me mad. Like, I don't want to eat it. And I went to my wife and said, maybe it would be okay if I did this. And I try to find people to help me, like, give me excuses so that I can eat all the stuff that I like to eat. But here's the deal. Well, here's what my doctor said. Do you want to live, or do you want to eat steak? The doctor didn't spend time trying to convince me that I'd be happier. The doctor just basically said, here's the deal.
What up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Oh my God, we got a treat for you guys today, man. We have Jeb Blount with us from the book, Fanatical Prospecting. And I want to thank my good friend Joey Torkelson for setting me up with Jeb, because this book has been fantastic. I mean, listen, it's like the complete prospecting guide. I mean, it's just like from A to Z. If you want to learn how to prospect, if you want to learn how to be effective, this is the book you want to pick up. From creating structure to the interruption to getting beyond that mindset of, taking it personal to fearing rejection. It's awesome. And I love his thing about interruption is be brief, bright, and then be gone. And it's just about being efficient. Man, it's amazing. So anyway, I love it. Clearly, I love this. You guys know I love this stuff. I wrote a book called The Sales Playbook. So this is my thing right here. Could go on all day. I'm not gonna. I would tell you, listen to this episode over and over, and then go out and get yourself a copy of the book, Fanatical Prospecting. As a matter of fact, get it free on my Audible for free at davidsfreebook.com. Download it for free. Okay, anyway, listen, I want to remind you, referrals, Central Massachusetts. We have Central Massachusetts covered. Guys, building right now the largest and number one referred real estate team in Massachusetts. Keep us in mind for that. We have you covered. Advocare, if you're in your health and nutrition, a lot of you guys did the challenge with me last January. We're planning the same thing for this January. I'll put a date out there, but I want you to start thinking about it now. It's the 24-day challenge. This is 24 days of just eating right, eating healthy, taking some vitamins, taking some protein, some fiber, it's just fantastic. Last time we did it, our top guy had lost 17 pounds. And I think the person with the least had lost 4 pounds. But the cool thing was they changed their eating habits. Again, love to have you do it with us. If you're interested, man, just feel free. Shoot me an email, a text, whatever. Just let me know you're interested. I'm going to keep talking more about it as we get closer to January. Hey, that said, you guys rock. Enjoy Jeb Blount. Hey, Masters. Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And today I am with Jeb Blount, Jeb Philly Blount, we're going to call him for today. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing really good, man. Thanks for asking. Listen, a little bit about Jeb. I mean, you're a best-selling author. You have 8 books, including Sales EQ, Fanatical Prospecting, which is the book that really got me to reach out to you, man. I'm going through the book right now. And honestly, I'm about to buy a bunch of copies, and I want to really just go through it and dissect it with my team because it's that good. You also have people follow you, people buy you. You're a sales acceleration specialist who helps organizations reach peak performance just fast by optimizing the talent and leverage training. And just got a lot of really great things going on. So you can talk to us about that. I just want to say, hey, man, thanks for taking time with us today.
Oh, man, thank you. I've been looking forward to this. I know you've got a big audience, and I'm very grateful that you've taken time to have me on your show. Yeah, definitely. We're blessed, and the audience is growing every single month, so we really appreciate people like you helping us do that. Now, here's the thing. The book is Fanatical Prospecting. Fantastic book. Good friend of mine, Joey Torkelson, you were on his podcast. Yep. He suggested I check out your book, and now I have a book. I don't know if you know this, Jeb. I have a book called The Sales Playbook. I mean, I started on the phones when I was a kid. As I've been on, prospecting my whole life. And honestly, I love my book. Everybody should have a copy of my book. The other book I'm saying is, like, when I read your book, I said, wow, your book's complete, dude. From A to Z, right? I mean, if somebody needs to learn how to prospect, I'm going to tell you, pick up your book. Coming from me, that's a big deal, my friend. I appreciate that.
I'm not just saying that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good stuff. That said, before we even get into the book, it says people buy you. Like, what do you mean by that? We have all salespeople listen to this. So let's talk about that. How important is that?
Well, if you think about it like this, we've got all of these, bells and whistles, tools. We've got brochures. We've got online, in the real estate world, for example. I mean, you've got every kind of online tool you can possibly imagine 360-degree cameras. I mean, there's cool stuff hopping up every single day. And great salespeople are learning how to integrate this type of tech and all these tools into their daily life. But the great salespeople are doing it so that they can spend more time with human beings. Because the greatest predictor of outcome of any sales conversation is the emotional experience that the buyer has dealing with the seller inside that conversation. And so it goes throughout the entire sales process. So the greatest predictor of are you going to close a deal is whether or not the person that's dealing with you likes you, feels trust for you, believes that you care about them, and thinks that you get them and really understand them, the emotional experience. So in essence, they're buying you first and then they're listing their house. They're buying you first and they're buying the house. They're buying you first and then they're buying anything else, anywhere else. And even with recruiters, we do a lot of work in staffing and with recruiting. You know, the same thing with recruiters. They're signing up with you first and then they're going to take the job. So I think you have to recognize that. And, you know, we go back to prospecting. Why is prospecting so important? Because, well, if you can't have the conversation, if you don't have someone to have a conversation with. So prospecting, in essence, is not about the emotional experience. It's about getting an opportunity to have the emotional experience. And by the way, that's where some people get this wrong. They think that prospecting is about building rapport and having great conversations and selling and all this other stuff. And it's not. It's about getting an appointment. It's about getting people to give you permission to spend time with them if you're in a one-call close. And then the selling process is the nuance and the art of influencing other people and getting them to like and buy into you and trust you and believe you. Mm. And I think that salespeople have to understand that those are two different disciplines.
Yeah. So you said something important. You said prospecting is not about getting people to like you. It's about getting an appointment. But don't they work together, Jeb?
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, you know, I like salespeople who, when they interrupt my day, are relevant, that they're to the point, that they have confidence, and, you know, there's something that they're bringing to the table that makes sense for me. I like that. I like salespeople who aren't insecure. I like salespeople who don't use passive words. And I like it intuitively. I mean, that's the human condition. We like people who are confident. We like people who are relevant. I mean, that's the case. So, yeah, I mean, to some extent, you're creating some likability with prospecting, but that's not my objective. My objective is to get time. I mean, the hardest ask in sales is for time. So I begin with, what do I need to do to get this person's time? Now, there's something called the law of familiarity. And the law of familiarity simply says that every single human being lives in a familiarity bubble. And inside that bubble, the things that are in there, we're more familiar with, we believe, we trust. And the people that are inside our familiarity bubble, we have a higher probability of engaging with. Same thing in prospecting and sales. Some of prospecting, in fact, you know, a good bit of prospecting is engaging people over and over and over again so that you become more familiar to them. And that can happen through social media. It can happen through pure old marketing and advertising. You know, in your industry, there's a lot of people that put their face everywhere because that creates familiarity. So prospecting can do that, but it's not necessarily the act of prospecting isn't about building rapport, but it's about getting time. And let's just say that you own a house and you just listed it yourself. So you've got a FSBO. And you listed it yesterday, and I just walked up and said hello to you and shook your hand. That's a form of prospecting. I'm not selling anything. I'm not going to convince you on your doorstep when you listed your house yesterday that I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. But I'm beginning the conversation. And once you give me a little bit of time and I can begin building the relationship, then that process of prospecting and relationship building changes just a bit.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, listen, I built my business calling for sale by owners and expireds. And honestly, sometimes I can call an expired in the morning and be at their house in the afternoon and list a property. And same thing with for sale by owners, you know. So it's exactly what we said. The point of the prospecting call really is to set the appointment. So that's what I get from your book, you know, help people focus on, you know, what the real outcome is. And I think a lot of salespeople get lost. So tell us the essence of fanatical prospecting. Then we're going to jump into the book.
Well, you know, the essence is always on. Like you said, I made my living by calling expired and FSBOs. Okay. That's always on. You're always looking. Your eyes always open. You've got what I call them sales goggles, right? Your sales goggles are on. When you're driving down the street, when you're in a grocery store, you know, when you're at dinner, you never stop. I mean, that's fanatical. If you think about the highest earners in your profession, they never stop. They are always on. It is a way of life. That's fanatical. And it's getting past your hangups. It's getting past the concern about being too pushy or getting rejected. All of that goes away when you're fanatical. You just ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. You're always on, always looking, always chasing, always looking for the next opportunity to meet with somebody. And I surround myself with a bunch of those folks in my business. The reason my business has grown and is growing as fast as it is because I got a bunch of fanatical prospectors on my team. Because fanatical prospectors get this. They get one thing, right? Interrupting people sucks. If you didn't have to do it, you wouldn't do it. Going out and cold calling sucks. If you didn't have to do it, you wouldn't do it. But if you don't do it in this world, they're not going to call you, and you're going to end up having kids that don't have any shoes and are awful skinny. So you have to do that if you want to achieve your goals. And fanatical prospectors, man, they're focused on what they want. They're focused on their goal. They're focused on building their business, and nothing stops them. They are relentless with prospecting.
Hey, Masters, I want to tell you about a special holiday listings extravaganza I'm putting together, guys, starting November 20th. We're going to go from November 20th through January 1st, and we're going to have 5 call sessions, guys, webinars where I'm going to share with you all the ideas, tools, scripts, and all the best strategies to list homes during the holidays while everybody else, while all the other realtors are sitting back, enjoying themselves, waiting until after the holidays. We're going to go out there and we're going to take all those listings together. Guys, I've been doing it every single year, and I'm going to share the proven techniques with you. So if you're interested in this special program, it's only open to 25 people. Guys, we're going to go all in during the holidays. And don't worry, you'll have some time off to enjoy the family and relax as well. Go to davidihill.com/holiday listings. Again, davidihill.com/holiday listings. All right, so Jeb, I mean, I'm a trainer for Keller Williams on a national level. We deal with a lot of agents coming in, especially newer salespeople. One of the biggest things we get pushback is, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to bother people. They maybe will call once. The person says no, they don't call again. How do we get people beyond that? Because I think that's what you were talking about when you said, the interruption, right? Being pushy.
Absolutely. There's a couple of things. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Some people are so hypersensitive to rejection that they should not be in a sales job. And when we're recruiting people, when we're bringing people in with our clients, we use an assessment called Sales Drive that only assesses one thing basically, and that's it. Will you go out and interrupt people? Are you willing to face rejection? But, not everybody has a tool like that. So the reality is that there are people who shouldn't be in sales. There are other people who you don't got to do anything, man. They're just out there calling on everybody. They have Teflon skin. Rejection doesn't bother them nearly as much as it bothers other people. And then there's a whole lot of people in the middle. And there's a couple of things here. So I'm going to unpack this a little bit. One is I help people understand that when they say, I don't want to be too pushy, and when you're not being too pushy, you actually create resistance. Confidence gets people to say yes. When you are holding back, when you are being insecure, when you are using passive language, I don't know, would it be okay if maybe we could get together? The paradox of not wanting to be too pushy is that no one wants to spend any time with you because nobody wants to hang around with salespeople that are insecure. Now, there's a flip side of that. People don't want to hang out around people who are arrogant either. But confidence, pure on confidence works. And so one thing is teaching them how to sound confident, teaching them the words that they need to say that sound confident. And I'll give you an example. You hear people saying all the time, I just wanted to. I just wanted to is one of the most passive things you could possibly say.
I love that you said that.
And it's just wanted to was yesterday, by the way. So
listen, I don't want to. It's funny. That's one of the things I took from your book. And I've been doing this a long time, Jeb, and I catch myself doing that all the time now. And anytime I say it, I'm like, But it's the awareness, though. It's the awareness, right? So I don't mean to interrupt you, but that just struck a chord with me. But it makes such a difference.
It does. It makes a huge – people are amazed at just changing the words, how often they get a yes. It's also teaching people, look, you're not going to get a yes 100% of the time. So we have to work on that. Now, in our Fanatical Prospecting boot camps, one of the things that we do is we make people get on the telephone with us sitting there. So part of it is – and I know this is tough in real estate where everybody's an independent, where everybody's sort of a volunteer, but the leaders on these teams and in these offices, man, you got to stand up and have some courage to bring your people in and make them prospect. And real estate agents need to be on the telephone. They need to be doing canvassing. They need to be doing networking events. They need to be on social media. They should be sending emails. They should be sending text messages. They should be using smoke signals if that will work for them. But as leaders in these real estate organizations, if you don't hold your people accountable, they're not going to do it. You're going to spend a lot of time teaching them, training them, going through the process. I know they're spending a lot of money on it in themselves, but they're going to stay at home and not do it. So you have to hold people accountable and create an environment where people do that. We do that in our Fanatical Prospecting boot camps, and it works. But you have to do that, and you have to help them set structure up, because you're bringing people on who typically have come from some other profession, and you're asking them to jump into a world that they know nothing about, and they have no structure, and they just drift. And you've seen this happen a million times, so they're not doing anything, any prospecting, anything at all. There are real estate groups that I've worked with in the past that I think do a phenomenal job of having regular prospecting blocks with their people, getting people coming in the morning, creating an environment where that's what it works, and basically saying, look, you can be in real estate, but you can only be a part of our team if you're willing to do these things. I think the next thing is I just teach people where it comes from. I mean, this fear of rejection, that's all what I don't want to be pushy is. This fear of rejection is basically biological. I mean, 10,000 years ago when we were all living in caves, if you got rejected, if you got pushed out of the cave, it was a death sentence. So what happened was our brains and our bodies created an early warning system called our fear of rejection that tells us that we are on the verge, right, of being ostracized. And we feel this. And by the way, it's a physical pain. It's the only emotion that our body responds to the same way that it responds to a cut or a broken arm or some other physical injury. So what I try to do with salespeople is, instead of giving them all of this, these cliches like, hey, let it roll off your back and it's not personal and all those things, just acknowledge to them it feels like it's personal. And then we teach them mechanisms. So for example, in Fanatical Prospecting, we teach a concept called the ledge, which basically is teaching them the words to say every single time they hear a particular no or a particular rejection or a particular objection. By doing that, we give them what neuroscientists call the magical quarter of a second to gain control of the disruptive emotion of fear of rejection, and then we give them the next set of words. But they have to get emotional control or nothing else works, because the body starts responding, from a neurophysical standpoint, to the rejection. So it's deeper than just saying, just let it roll off your back.
Yeah. No, I get that. I just want to back up a little bit, because you said a lot of important stuff. You mentioned there was, the type of person that comes in that probably shouldn't even be in sales just because they're just terrified. They're probably never going to make the calls. Then you got the person like we just hired a kid, just fearless. Just fearless. He could care less. You give him the phone, he'll call anybody, he'll knock any door. And then you got most people are in the middle, right? Even myself, right. I'll be honest, I'm probably somewhere in the middle, although I've been doing it a long time. So I'm confident now. When you're dealing with that person that is maybe in the middle, but they're not picking up the phone because they don't have the confidence. How do you get that person to get into action? Because I see so many people that probably could really succeed at a high level, Jeb, in real estate, yet they just refuse to maybe get outside their comfort zone a little bit and pick up the phones. How do you work with that person?
I just go back to, this is what we do in our Fanatical Prospecting boot camps. We sit people down, give them a list, give them a pen, give them a phone, and say, you got 15 minutes to make $15, make one appointment, go. And we don't move. We're Teflon. It requires leadership. I can't motivate another person, but I can lead them. And I can show them a way. I can create a structure in their day so this happens. I can create an environment in my office where everybody comes in and we call expireds. We know when the expireds are coming up. They're on the MLS. It's not like there's some mystery out there. So we curate a list. We bring people in. We get it done. Now, some people aren't going to come in. Some people are going to drift. You can't do anything about those folks, not at all. Yeah. Now, there's another thing that you should be doing, and this is, look, if you're a real estate agent and you're listening to me, what I'm explaining, you need to lead yourself too, okay? You need to set your day up. You need to create an environment where you're prospecting. But at the same time, we also have to understand that prospecting sucks. It sucks. Nobody wants to do it. You got to do it. So the only thing, right, that trumps suck is desire. So you got to know what you want. Like, you got to have some sort of a goal or a target out there. Just like anything else in life that's hard to do, you got to have that put up so that you know what you want. And that's where I think we get these breakdowns, is the person doesn't know what they're working for. But I go back to, look, if I was, staring at the real estate agent in their eyes, I would say, you need to sit down and put your goals together. And you've got to put together a schedule for your day every single day that begins with prospecting. Because if you don't start your day with prospecting, it's not going to happen. And at the same time, I'm getting the broker and I'm looking at the broker and saying, you want to list more homes? Then you better, by God, figure out how to create an environment in this office where your real estate agents are prospecting. And oh, by the way, like the kid you got who's fearless, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. But the rest of the people, the average people, if I don't get my arms around you, you're just not going to get it. And hoping that they're going to get it fixed is not a good strategy.
Yeah, no doubt. I love that you say prospecting sucks. I mean, that's the reality, right? I mean, when I talk to agents, I say, a lot of you guys, you went into real estate because you wanted the flexibility of real estate and the freedom. That is actually the biggest challenge they have because nobody's telling them they have to do anything, right? Like if you go to a 9-to-5 job, man, you could be standing on a conveyor belt all day moving products, right? You don't have a choice, right? So when you say prospecting sucks, it's showing up, Jeb, doing your job. That's the way I like to look at it, right?
And it is.
And then the other thing is, is you mentioned, you talked about it not being, I mean, I don't know. I like to say don't take it personal. That's kind of like one of my things. I get where you're coming from with that, though. Like, you can say all day, don't take it personal. How do you get them to not take it personal? I guess that would be if there's anything I think our listeners can really take from this, I think that's the thing that makes it so tough for people, at least in my opinion. I mean, I got people sitting in front of me in a full body sweat because they got to pick up the phone. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, this person doesn't even know you. I mean, what do you say to that person?
Well, I don't waste my time trying to get people not to take it personal. I just acknowledge that to most people, it is personal. It's personal. I mean, when someone tells you, no, it sucks, it hurts, it's personal. The thing is, you got to make the next call. Because if you don't make the next call, you're not going to eat. Look, I don't worry about that. I go, do you want to eat? Do you want to eat? Right. Do you want to pay your mortgage payment? We talk about this jobs like real estate, unlimited income and flexible hours. Well, it's not flexible hours. It's responsible hours. You have to be responsible for your time. So it's you making a choice to spend your time. Look, I'm under doctor's orders right now. I travel a lot. I'm like 300 days a year, and I've been eating really poorly. And so my doctor gave me a list, and he gave me a list of stuff I can't eat. And it made me mad. Like, I don't want to eat it. And I went to my wife and said, maybe it would be okay if I did this. And I try to find people to help me, give me excuses so that I could eat all the stuff that I like to eat. But here's the deal. Here's what my doctor said. Do you want to live or do you want to eat steaks? Basically that was what he said to me. So I have to make a choice, and it is a terrible choice. I don't want to make that choice. The doctor didn't spend time trying to convince me that I'd be happier. The doctor just basically said, here's the deal. So when I look at salespeople, I don't waste my time trying to help you figure out whether it's personal or not personal. It's personal. I get it. It sucks. Okay. What do you want to accomplish in your life? Because if you're not willing to do this, you won't get that. If you want flexible hours, you have to have the responsibility to get your rear end up every day and get started and knock on doors and make some phone calls and get some homes listed so that you can have your afternoon off to spend with your kids. But you want to begin your day with the most impactful thing that you can do. And the most impactful thing that a real estate agent can do is put stuff in the pipeline. And that's the end of the conversation. Now, I can teach you methodologies for dealing with rejection, for dealing with objection, for dealing with those things. I can show you how to get past more of it. I can improve your probability of getting the time, getting the appointment, getting the listing. I can do those things. But you have to decide whether or not you want to do it.
No doubt. Hey, Masters, we're going to get you right back to the show. I want to tell you about my website, davidihill.com. We have everything you need there, from phone numbers to leads, and if you're looking for talent, ZipRecruiter. Everything's there. Just go to davidihill.com/affiliates. And here's the awesome thing. I am going to be opening up my schedule for a select group of salespeople and real estate agents who want to take their business to the next level, guys. Here's the thing. We're going to talk about lead generation, understanding behavior at that deep level, how to ask great questions, not just that, but how to listen, and then connection, and finally, follow-up, guys. 70% of all sales comes from follow-up. So we're going to help you build some ironclad systems for follow-up. Now listen, this is only for the serious people. If you are absolutely serious about doing some individual coaching and taking your business to the next level, go to davidihill.com/coaching. Fill out an application, and I'm offering a free 20-minute consultation to see if we're a fit. Again, davidihill.com/coaching. You rock. Enjoy the rest of the show. You talk about interruption in your book, right? Talk to us about interruption.
If you were to sit down with a group of agents and say, folks, we're going to do some cold calls, right? They'd, I'm going to cold call. If you handed them a list of hot leads, you know, that person that was sitting in front of you sweating, right? They didn't want to make the call, right? And they were hot leads. Like, these people called you and said, I just need you to call them back and set an appointment with them. They wouldn't call either. We get all, hung up on whether it's a cold call or warm call or this call or that call. Here's the deal. People are just afraid to call. That just goes back to what we were just talking about. You are interrupting people. Interrupting people is uncomfortable because when you interrupt people, there's the chance, and it's probably a pretty good chance, that they're not going to respond very well to it. So if you're going to interrupt people, if you're going to do that, maybe you should do it in a way that makes sense and is respectful to them, which means that you need to be brief, you need to be bright, and you need to get gone. And when we go back to taking it personal in the conversation, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it, that's why I just don't care whether or not you do or don't take it personal. I just assume that everybody does. I also know that you have to interrupt people in order to make your number. You just have to do that. So if you're going to interrupt people, what we need to do is teach you how to do it in a way that gets that person's attention and gets them to say yes. So if I'm calling FSBOs, I may have a different way of approaching FSBOs when they've just put their, the sign out in their yard. I may have a way of approaching FSBOs that have been on the market for 60 or 90 days. I have a way of approaching expireds. We teach people how to do that, and there's just a mechanism. We teach a 5-step process in Fanatical Prospecting. But it's fast. Literally 10 seconds or less, you got a yes, no, or a maybe. And then when you get a no or you get a maybe, what do you do about that? How do you deal with that? And if you get a yes, you don't need to do anything else. Just call and ask for what you want. I guarantee you there's agents out there that could just call FSBOs and say, can I come meet with you? I'll be there Thursday at 2. And at least a third of them would say yes.
So go back to the interruption. You said be brief, was the second one bright?
Be gone.
All right. So what's bright? Tell us, what does that mean?
Be relevant.
Okay.
Yeah, be relevant. Have something that's relevant. So if I call up, a FSBO, let's say I've got a for sale by owner and they just listed their house. They just put it on the market.
All right, here, why don't you just call me? Let's do a role play. You give me a call. I'm a FSBO. How's that sound?
Yeah, I might say, hey, David, this is Jeb with Keller Williams, and the reason I'm calling is I noticed that you just put your house on the market. I've got some information that I thought you might be helpful to use so that you could do a better job getting your house sold. I'm going to be over your neighborhood on Thursday at 2. How about I stop by and give it to you?
Yeah, right now we're trying to sell it ourselves, Jeb, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right now we're just trying to sell it ourselves.
And that's exactly why I called, because I think you're doing a great thing selling it yourself, and a lot of people are able to move their houses. I've just got some additional information on some things that you need to know as a for sale by owner that will help you sell your house faster, and I just want to drop it off on Thursday at 2.
All right, yeah, that's fine. If you want to drop it off, that's no problem. Just to let you know, we are planning to sell it ourselves.
Absolutely, it sounds good. How about Thursday at 2? I'll be there.
All right, perfect. Yeah, sounds good, man.
Yep. I'm not arguing you out of selling it yourself, because how can I do that on the phone? You just put the sign out in the yard 2 days ago. All I want to do is start the process of building a relationship with you. And there are, by the way, some really cool statistics. I know you're aware of them, that the first agent that gets to a for sale by owner has the highest probability of listing that house when the for sale by owner fails.
Yeah.
And most of them are going to fail.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our listeners really need to get what you just said, because that is so accurate. So you want to be the first to make contact with these guys. Even if it's just after that, getting them on an email drip or sending them something, you want to be the first people agent they talk to.
But that's exactly right. So if I call up and say, hey, David, this is Jeb with Keller Williams, and I just noticed you put your house on the market. I've got a packet of information that I give to folks like you who are selling your house on your own that will, help you sell it faster. And I'm going to be over in your neighborhood visiting one of my clients on Thursday at 2. How about I drop it off? you're either going to say yes, no, or maybe. You said maybe. And I said, that's exactly why I called, because I knew that you'd be selling it yourself. And all I want to do is give you a hand, because it's something that I do for everybody, because I love real estate. Well, why wouldn't you say yes to me? So you say yes, I go by, I meet you, shake your hand, hand you the information. That's a basic influence framework, by the way. When I give you something, it creates an obligation. So it taps into reciprocity. And then I ask you, hey, can I get your email address? And I've got a couple of things I can send you. Can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Great. So I put you on an email drip. I find you on Facebook. I connect with you, and you'll connect with me now because we're friends, right? We just met each other. Then I can run a Facebook campaign directly against you. So you're seeing my name, seeing my picture all the time. I'm creating familiarity. And I call every, couple of weeks and see how you're doing. And I don't do anything other than that. Because listen, if this particular for sale by owner is competent enough to sell their house, there's nothing that I'm going to do to change that fact. But most of them aren't. So I'm playing the long game that the person who isn't competent or gets frustrated or has a hard time, when they need help, they're going to turn to me. And if they turn to me, I'm going to win the deal. But it all begins with getting a little bit of their time. Yeah.
Also, we did some research on multiple industries and realized that about 70% of our business comes from follow-up. About 70%. It's literally that high. May even be higher in certain industries. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think that goes back to, we were talking about familiarity. So it just goes back to when you follow up, you win. Because most people, you said this earlier in the in the call, most people will call once and they get a no, or they get a brush off and they never call again. I was with a group of real estate agents 2 weeks ago, and I've watched real estate agents mow through a list and then just go to the next list. They would never call the list again. Even in my business, I've got some of my salespeople, we've had to get them off of that habit of just calling, a list. And if nobody says yes to them, they just find another list. So it's the follow-up. It's the repeat calls. And this is what's so beautiful about sales today is the phone's the most powerful tool, but you have email and you have text messages. And if I meet you and you're selling your house and we have a conversation and I get your phone number, I'm going to send you a text message and say, thanks for meeting with me today. If you text me back, I'm in. And then I'm going to send you, every week, I'll send you a text message with a link to an article on, on the prices of houses, or, information on getting your house ready to sell, or on things that owners need to know. And I'll drip information into you, but I create that relationship. But here's the thing. That doesn't work if you don't call again. It doesn't work if you don't engage again. It doesn't work if you don't ask for the next meeting. Because some people put people on these long drip campaigns, but they never actually do anything about it. They never call them. So all they are basically is a newsletter. That's not enough.
No doubt. No doubt. Dude, I listen, I can go on with this conversation all day. You and I, we speak the same language, man. I love this stuff. A couple more questions for you, though. I want to keep the podcast down to, I think we talked about maybe 40 minutes or so. You talk about being desperate, sounding desperate in the book, right? Talk to us about that. Why does that happen and how does that happen?
Well, if you have an empty pipeline, so let's just go back to your agent that is afraid of calling or doesn't want to call or doesn't want to seem too pushy or can't manage their time. And in real estate in particular, nobody's writing you a check every day. You've got to sell something or list something and get it sold before you make any money. So if you're not making any money, it kind of sucks because you got to eat, and you got to pay for things like gas and your mortgage and your rent and all those things. So if you don't have a full pipeline, then you start getting more and more desperate. And then you actually do become pushy, right? Because you start pushing and you start allowing your disruptive emotion of fear and desperation and insecurity to get in the way of the relationship. So, for example, let's just take our last example. I call you up. You just, put your house on the market as a for sale by owner. I just want to come by and meet with you. I've got a packet of information that I give to my for sale by owners that give them some tips and tricks on selling their house. These are the same things I would give to an owner that I'm listing a house for, but it's packaged a little different way. And I walk up to your door and you just put your house on the market, and I move right into a pitch on why you shouldn't do this and what's wrong with that. And I try to argue you out of your belief that you're doing the right thing. Well, at that point, I destroy the relationship. I destroy any opportunity for us to work together. I get more desperate because I get shut down really, really hard. And I just go into this vortex. So the easiest way to gain confidence in sales, and we know that confidence and enthusiasm are the two most important emotions in sales. The easiest way to have confidence is you got a pipeline full. I mean, think about the difference in the attitude of an agent that's got, 10, 15 houses listed on the market and one that has no houses listed on the market. What's the difference? I mean, it's massive. Like one's walking around with their shoulders up. They're just printing money. They turn around, their phone's ringing. People are calling them. They see their name everywhere. The person that's got nothing, man, they are so desperate to get something that you almost have to hold them back. You can see it. And this is called the universal law of need, which basically states that the more you need the deal, the more you need the listing, the less likely you are to get it. It all begins with prospecting. Prospecting is the root and the foundation of all success in sales.
And Jeb, when people are being that way, right, coming from that need, want place, people on the other end are sensing that, right? They can feel it.
Oh, well, because emotions are contagious. So that's the same thing. If you think about it, we go back to, you asked me this, people buy you question at the very beginning, right? If we go back to the beginning, the most consistent predictor of outcome in sales is the emotional experience that the buyer or lister has going through the process with the salesperson. That emotional experience is something that we're transferring. Human beings, we are extremely adept at feeling the emotions of other people. Why is confidence so important? Why do I like people who are confident? Because I can feel confidence. So when you're confident, you make me want and feel confident about you. I want to do business with you. I feel confident about you. When you're desperate, when you're insecure, when you use passive language like, I just wanted to reach out and see if maybe it will be okay. When you use stuff like that, right, it erodes the relationship. Nobody wants to do business with desperate, insecure, passive salespeople. They just don't want to. So we have to recognize that every emotion that we have is being transferred to that potential, lister, that potential, owner, that potential buyer, all the time.
It's funny because when you say that again, I was catching myself saying, "Hey, it's Dave. I'm just following up." I'm like, "Oh no!" I catch myself. And I'm like, "It's Dave. I'm following up." Right? There's a huge difference there.
Yeah, I'm just checking in to see how your house is going.
Yeah, I'm just checking in. I love that. All right, hey, listen, this has been fantastic. What do you think is like the biggest misconception when people hear the word prospecting?
I think the biggest misconception is they see in their mind what we all see, right? Which is the caricature of the salesperson that we've been taught in movies, that we've been, taught on TV, that we've been taught in, in print, and in cartoons, which is the polyester clad salesperson with a foot in the door, trying to get in. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Great salespeople are prospecting because they're looking for the buyers and the sellers that are in the buying window in that moment, or in the selling window in that moment for real estate, and they're looking for that. And I think that's the biggest misconception. That's where the I don't want to be too pushy comes from. That's where I don't want to be in sales. I mean, there's a whole bunch of real estate agents out there that quit calling themselves salespeople. I mean, come on. So what they're doing is you're projecting, something that's inside of you, like you see this. And what fanatical prospectors do is they don't do that. Like they get rid of that whole thing that's happening to them in their brain. It doesn't exist anymore. They see themselves as a professional. My job is to help people. And in real estate, what's beautiful about real estate is that there are very few professions where you truly get to make other people's dreams come true. But you can't do that unless you got people for whom you can make dreams come true.
No doubt. All right. Well, I know right away I'm going to go out. I'm going to get 10 copies of your book for my team, and we're going to do a book study on your book because it's perfect. Like I said in the beginning, it's like the complete book for prospecting. Absolutely love it. And how do our listeners, if our listeners want to talk to you, get in touch with you, how do we reach out to you?
Awesome. Yeah. A couple of ways. Catch me on Facebook. I'm at Sales Gravy. That's my regular public page. Connect with me there. It's cool. I don't do anything controversial, but I post a bunch of stuff there. My fan page on Facebook is Jeb on Demand. I'm on Instagram at Sales Gravy, Twitter at Sales Gravy. I'm on YouTube at Sales Gravy. I put up new videos almost every single day. I'm on LinkedIn. Love to connect with you on LinkedIn. It's probably my main hub is on LinkedIn. And you can also catch up my podcast on iTunes or Stitcher or anywhere you you download podcasts. It's Jeb Blount, Blount, Sales Gravy. And you can check us out at salesgravy.com. We've got a ton of free content there. So articles, videos, podcasts from some of the brightest minds in sales. And when we get this podcast out, we're going to put this up there too. So come see us at Sales Gravy.
Thank you, my friend. I look forward to it. Hey, listen, I like to read a book. And I also like to listen on audio at the same time. I love doing that, and I go back and forth, which I'm doing right now. I'm listening to yours on audio. So for all our listeners, you can get a copy of the Fanatical Prospecting literally for free. Just go to davidsfreebook.com. Get it for free as a free download on Amazon. But like I said, I would also get yourself the hard copy so that you can literally study it and tab pages and highlight and make notes, because I just think that's how you master the stuff. So all of the people listening to this, Jeb, are on their path to sales mastery. So what is the one thing, if there's one thing you want them to take and implement from this interview today, Jeb, what would that be?
Start your day with a prospecting block. So if you want to do one thing that will change your life, block out 30 minutes, first thing in the morning, get a list, get a pen, get a phone, and let nothing distract you from that. So you start your day off and make 25 to 30 dials every single day. If you do that every day, the cumulative impact on your income is massive.
Brilliant. I'm going to go sign up for your podcast right now, as a matter of fact.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Masters, you guys know how important health and nutrition is to me. I just want to talk to you a little bit about products I use called AdvoCare. I've been using these products for about 1.5 years now, mostly just for energy. They've got a really awesome drink. It's called Spark. If you want to check out anything, I would tell you, go check out the energy drink Spark. That's what I did for, like I said, almost 1.5 years without even trying any of their other products. And then this past January, a bunch of us, January 4th, decided we were going to do the 24-day challenge, which is a 10-day cleanse and then 14 days of just really healthy eating, vitamins, meal replacement, just awesome 24 days just to kind of get yourself on track and get into some right habits. So Richie Ryan did it with us. Guys, he lost, today's February 5th. I think he's at 24 pounds lost since January 4th. Melissa at our office lost 6 pounds. Min at our office lost 5 pounds. Guys, I mean, listen, it's amazing. Regardless, if your goal is losing weight, my goal wasn't losing weight. I did the challenge just so I could experience it. And, I lost a few pounds, but now I put some weight back on because I started using some of the supplements and the protein powder and all the other stuff. So now I've gained about 3 pounds of muscle and just feel awesome. My energy's through the roof. So whether you're looking for energy or you're looking for just wellness, I mean, they've got some amazing green products that I love taking before I go to bed. Or if you're looking for performance, athletic products, we've got the athletic performance products. And then just active, if you're an active adult, maybe getting a little older in the age and you want to just keep everything working the right way and functioning. Listen, Gary Keller said it best. If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? And I just love that. So, hey, I just ask you to check out AdvoCare's products. I'm a distributor, so I'd love to help you, talk to you about your nutrition and health goals. You go to livelongersmarter.com, livelongersmarter.com. If you love what you heard on this episode and you're looking for more techniques, tools, strategies, and ideas, simply go to thesalesplaybook.net and get yourself a copy of the Sales Playbook. You can also go directly to Amazon, type in the Sales Playbook, and buy your copy today.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.